Do you use, or are you considering using, Sage Intacct as your ERP? If you are, AssetAccountant is a partner of Sage Intacct, and we are a best-of-breed fixed assets depreciation engine. We completely manage the depreciation calculations and journaling of your fixed asset registers. What you're looking at right now is the introduction screen when you first log into AssetAccountant, and you'll see that you can have a company name, you can have as many entities and as many registers as you require. I'm going to go into an Australian register for the purpose of this demonstration. What you're looking at when you click into the register is an overall view of your fixed asset register and the current written down values and all of the opening and closing balances of the current period. On the left hand side are all of the fixed asset groups. And the numbers to the right of those are how many assets belong in each one of those asset groups. And you might notice up the top, there's a lot of spaces for searching and also filter options to find even the most obscure asset in your register. I'll now draw your attention to the very top menu. There are two items here that are particularly important. First of all, the tax and accounts toggle view. If I press that, you will see that we are invited to have a look at tax or accounts registers at any point in time for any individual asset or for the register as a total. And next to this, we have our period selector. So AssetAccountant enables you to select a view of your fixed asset register of any point in time, past, present, or future. I'm just going to run across now over to the register settings. In our register settings, when we set up, these are the basis of your fixed asset register: the country, jurisdiction, reporting year, also the name and the entity type. On these other tabs, up the top, we've got classifications. Classifications in Sage Intacct are exactly the same as dimensions. And here you can AssetAccountant fully supports both standard and custom dimensions, and they are very easy to set up and sync. We've also got pools functionality for Australia. It's a tax concept. You can add a low value pool, a small business pool. You can even add a software pool, which is supported. Integrations. This is where we can integrate with Sage Intacct and map all of our balance sheet and profit and loss items. So Sage Intacct, I'll show you how easy this is to do, and I will just add some credentials. And press connect. And that is it. We are now connected to Sage Intacct. I'll just choose one of the entities that we have there, and that is all you need to do. We are fully integrated with Sage Intacct. Now, I'm just going to draw your attention over here. We can run any number of reports. These are just some of the examples that we do have, and they can be run for any point in time for tax or accounts. You can export any view into Excel or CSV. We know accountants love to do that to manipulate data with pivot tables, and any view that you see in AssetAccountant is supported. We can also do a bulk import and import any number of acquisitions for an existing or a new register. There are other videos I can draw you to or lead you to show you that, but for this demonstration, let's just show you how to add a single asset. I'm going to add a vehicle. We'll call that nice new car. You're able to give that any asset code you like. You may import that from an existing ERP or your own numbering system. And you can add any description to the asset you like. Here I'm going to add this to the motor vehicles group and allocate a purchase price of $100,000. Purchase date and first use date, you'll notice as soon as I select one of these, and I'll just go back in time to April 2020, and I will just select a date from there, and you'll notice now we're invited to add our details for the tax depreciation books and the accounts depreciation books. We can here map our Sage Intacct dimensions. So in this case, we've got a project and a location. I'll choose Australia, Sydney. And custom fields, you're able to add whatever fields make sense to your assets. And that is it. Over on the right, if you're unsure of the effective life or the rate that you need to apply to your new asset, we have a very handy lookup tool which interrogates, in this case, the ATO's tax guide. And if I just look up a car, it gives us a number of options, and I'll select this one here. For the auditors amongst us, we are able to add into the notes anything that we would like attached to the asset and save. And now this is the asset view. You can see for the auditors, these notes are forever linked to this particular asset. And just as I showed you before, this is for the tax books. And you'll notice that we've got a written down value of 54,000. If I toggle this now to accounts, you will notice a much more modestly depreciated asset and a much higher book value. And that is probably all I need to show you. Oh, one last thing, journals. Let's post a journal. It is as easy as creating a new journal here. I've selected it for the current period. I can collapse the view, I can expand the view. These are 2 dimensions. We can export to Excel, or we may choose just to simply post to Sage Intacct, and I have just done so. We get the confirmation here, and here is the Sage Intacct interface. I'm just going to go to Journal Entries. We'll have a look at the General Journal. Select Private, and here is the journal that we just posted to for the 30th of April 2021. And that is an overview of AssetAccountant and how we can easily integrate with Sage Intacct and post journals.